All righty, welcome into Shelbyville now. I'm sitting here, David Thomas, with Josh Blevins. And Josh, we've got some breaking news.
It's very breaking.
Yes.
It's so breaking it
The
broke within
ink's not even dry on
the
this.
ink is not even dry. That's how breaking the news is.
So why don't you jump right in and tell us what's breaking?
What's breaking? We just received from Senior Judge Don R. Ash from Murfreesboro the final ruling on the lawsuit between the city of Shelbyville and Bedford County. So just hot off the press, it says May 7th was today, May 7th. So this came right out today. And we won't beat around the bush. We'll get right to the point. And the judge ruled in favor of the city of Shelbyville.
Yeah.
And the sales tax agreement that was signed in 1974 is terminated effective July 1st, 2027.
So we've got 2 years.
2 years.
Basically, in a month or two.
Yeah, for it to for everything to get wrapped up. And the basis of his ruling, we've got, we'll go to page 15 of the ruling here. One of the arguments that the county had made was that the word relinquish and relinquishment meant forever. And we had actually mentioned, I think, on Saturday that he kind of hinted that he didn't feel like that was the case. And he ruled that that was not the case. The county had argued that the conditions of the agreement were conditions subsequent, which that had a particular legal meaning based on some previous case law. The judge ruled that the conditions of the agreement were not conditions subsequent. He also ruled that the agreement is not interminable for so long as the county continues to meet the conditions, which basically means that even though they were meeting the conditions, that doesn't mean that the contract goes on forever and ever in perpetuity. Right. So it could have an end date. And then he got down to the discussion of what is reasonable time and reasonable notice to terminate the agreement.
Yeah.
So the city reached out to it says court agrees with the city. This agreement contains no duration provision or express means of termination. Therefore, there's no mutual assent to the terms. So that the judge basically went through, looked at all the facts. He found that the city gave notice of termination to Bedford County initially with a letter sent November of 2023. Asking for termination July 2024. He says that the county has been relying on these funds, even though it's less than 5% of the school board budget. We actually discussed over the weekend. I think it's actually closer to less than 2%.
Oh, yeah, it's not much.
Yeah. Considering the cost of the new school buildings, in order to give the county time to make up this $2 million shortfall, the court finds that this time constitutes reasonable notice and declares the sales tax agreement terminable effective on July 1st, 2027.
Okay, just for people that are just now tuning in, the breaking news today is that the city has won the lawsuit. The judge has given his ruling, and as Josh was just going over there, the termination date will be July 1st, 2027. That gives the county 2 years.
2 years to adjust their funding formula that they use.
The funding formula will be higher.
Specifically for this is for school building projects, and actually it's for how they can pay off loans,
right?
The bonds and stuff.
We're going to get a property tax increase.
That may be the direction they head. We'll see. I would say, and I have heard nothing official from anybody, I would say my biggest guess would be we will be discussing, or the county will be discussing whether or not to appeal at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. This is going to drag out. You get ready to write another check to your attorney, Josh.
I'm afraid that might be the direction, but I think that will definitely be a hot topic for sure.
One thing I noticed in this, it talked about the testimony of Mayor Graham, and he testified that right now there are no city schools that the county is helping maintain, to something to that degree. The only school building currently being maintained by Bedford County is an administrative office housing, the Bedford County School Board, and just several things in here. Pretty much, it just sounded like he had a slam dunk case to rule on, based on that word relinquish not meaning forever.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Once you come to that decision that word doesn't mean forever, the rest of the contract,
right,
I mean, pretty much had to have a termination at some point, and then it was just a determination of what's reasonable notice to give.
2 years is pretty good.
Yeah, 2 years is not. And actually, he's saying that technically they received notice in 2023. So by putting it in 2027, they're getting 4 years notice at that point. So
yeah. So anything else jump out at you? I know we've had just a second to look
we've
over
had
this.
not even time to digest and read it all. So we'll definitely dig into it more on Saturday morning. But we just want to go ahead and get the information out there.
Right.
We'll
go in depth. We'll go in depth a little bit, but just so everybody will know, just to let everybody be made aware that the city has won the lawsuit. Judge ruled just a few minutes ago.
Just we
just got it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, just a few minutes ago. Yeah, earlier today.
So Shelbyville, now there's an end date to the contract. That's the
there is for
line
now until we'll see what happens in the court if there's an appeal.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right, Josh.
And we'll dig into the ruling more on Saturday morning at 10:00. We're always sitting right here talking about the news that matters. So
absolutely.
We'll talk about this on Saturday.
So we'll see you again Saturday, and again, Shelbyville has won the lawsuit against the county
for the moment.
For the moment.